Spirituality and astrology can be united at this point. Both seek to read the signs of the universe to guide life on Earth. Most people look at the sky and see stars, but few realize it's actually a language. The universe has always spoken through dreams, signs, and energies, guiding souls toward transformation and awakening. The controversial truth? Reality hides these messages in plain sight, and ignoring them only deepens the feeling of emptiness. Astrology and spirituality are not separate paths, but keys to the same portal, each moment of awareness opening the door to healing, self-knowledge, and spiritual growth. The calling has always been there, whispered through synchronicities and your higher self. The only question is, are you finally ready to listen? Topic 1. The sky as a divine language. For countless generations, human beings looked at the night sky and felt something greater whispering to their soul. The stars weren't just shiny dots decorating the universe. They were understood as living symbols, divine sentences written across the firmament. One who gazed upward for long enough could almost hear the universe calling, speaking in a language of light, vibration, and dreams. Back then, to observe the constellations was to connect to a form of spiritual growth, a kind of meditation that didn't need silence, only wonder. To them, the sky was no ordinary ceiling. It was an energetic portal revealing mysteries of the higher self. Try to picture those ancient shamans sitting by the fire, pointing at glowing formations and explaining to their people that Orion or the Pleiades weren't just stars, but signs of a deeper reality. They taught that each constellation carried a vibration, almost like a cosmic frequency in hertz, capable of awakening the inner peace hidden in the soul. You could say it was their version of personal development, a way to elevate your soul through constant dialogue with the night sky. Much like modern seekers who do energy work or meditate to recharge their energy, those ancestors used starlight as their daily compass for healing and spiritual development. And isn't it fascinating how these cosmic visions echo into today's world? People talk about spiritual vision, energetic hypersensitivity, and even spiritual isolation as if they were brand new terms, but they all trace back to the same yearning, interpreting the language of the universe to find their true self. Whether they called it mysticism, consciousness, or simply a path to enlightenment, they recognized the calling hidden in the sky. The heavens invited them toward transformation, toward a spiritual awakening that promised more than survival. It promised meaning. And as we keep peeling this ancient wisdom, a new layer unfolds, crossing right into the intriguing connection between spirituality and astrology. Topic 2. Spirituality and astrology. Astrology often felt like a forbidden door for many, yet it has always been a bridge to understanding the universe and one's true self. In ancient times, wise masters knew that the stars weren't simply to predict practical events like harvests, but also to open portals of self-knowledge. Imagine each sign of the zodiac as a mirror teaching a different layer of consciousness, like a cosmic manual for awakening. Through this lens, astrology becomes less about fortune-telling and more about spiritual growth, a way to meditate on the patterns of the universe and embrace your higher self. And when someone studies their birth chart, it's not just lines and symbols, it's a blueprint of the soul. It shows inclinations, potential paths, and even energetic sensitivities that can guide personal development. For example, a person with heavy water sign energy might experience energetic hypersensitivity, feeling emotions almost too intensely, yet that sensitivity can become their gateway to healing work,
inner peace, and a deeper understanding of spirituality. Astrology, in this sense, acts as an energetic portal where awakening isn't about changing who you are, but rediscovering the true self. And if you think about it, astrology is in fact a divine notebook written in codes that demand patience and intuition to read. It's like having a spiritual GPS that keeps pointing you toward transformation, helping you align daily reality with your mystical calling. The more people open themselves to this practice, the more they recognize that spiritual vision isn't random, but deliberately organized by universal consciousness. Astrology then becomes an invitation, a doorway to spiritual awakening, opening a path toward the same enlightenment sought by sages, monks, and seekers who dared to elevate their soul and look beyond the visible. But the stars alone never tell the whole story, because behind them lies an even deeper perception of energy. Topic 3. Signs of the universe. Every seeker at some point notices how life speaks in whispers and signs. A sudden dream, a repeated number sequence, or even an unexpected encounter can feel like the universe nudging the soul toward its true path. These signs aren't accidents. They are energetic bridges between reality and higher consciousness, like secret codes helping with spiritual growth and awakening. For those attuned to mysticism, these signals are part of the dialogue with the universe, proof that existence is far more mysterious than logic alone can explain. Think of how many times a person reflects deeply in meditation and then, by chance, they stumble upon a message, a book, or even a conversation that provides the exact answer they were seeking. Some call it coincidence, but those who dive into spirituality recognize it as the higher self responding. These are spiritual portals opening, guiding inner peace and healing. By learning to trust these hints, one can strengthen their personal development, connect to their calling, and even begin energy work with greater clarity. The signs are simply the universe's way of reminding us you're not alone, your soul has a purpose, and you're being guided. But recognizing these signs requires awareness, patience, and practice, like training the spiritual eye to see beyond what's obvious. It's a process of transformation that makes spiritual development more tangible, because the seeker starts to live in alignment with the symbolic language of creation. Once someone understands that life itself is filled with these codes, the feelings of spiritual isolation dissolve, replaced by a sense of belonging to something eternal. And yet the signs are just the entry point, because beyond noticing them, there lies the art of decoding the deeper messages written in energy itself.
Topic 4. Reading energy as a language. Long before modern science tried to measure frequencies and vibrations in hertz, ancient mystics already knew that energy was the fundamental language of the universe. They believed every movement, every sound, even every thought carried a subtle frequency that could be felt and interpreted. To them, reading energy wasn't fantasy. It was as real as reading words on a page. This level of perception is what awakens the soul to new dimensions of self-knowledge and spiritual growth, uncovering inner peace where confusion once lived. You've probably felt this yourself, walking into a room and instantly sensing whether the atmosphere was warm and welcoming or heavy and suffocating. That, in essence, is energy speaking to you. When practicing energy work, like meditation or conscious breathing, one learns to refine this sensitivity, transforming what feels like random moods into an intentional dialogue with the universe. This is where energetic hypersensitivity turns from a challenge into a gift for healing and spiritual development. It becomes the key to personal growth, a chance to awaken to the true self that knows how to navigate life with clarity. Here's the trick, though. Energy doesn't lie. Where words can deceive, vibrations reveal truth. A person aligned with their higher self radiates transformation, elevates their soul, and taps into a spiritual portal that expands consciousness. Those who pay attention can develop spiritual vision, noticing synchronicities, signs, and waves of inspiration that feel like direct downloads from universal consciousness. And while this skill opens profound doors for enlightenment, it also raises a question many seekers eventually face. What happens when this sensitivity grows so strong that it isolates them from others who don't perceive reality in the same way? Topic 5. The challenge of spiritual isolation. For many seekers, awakening doesn't just bring bliss, it often brings distance. When the soul starts to perceive reality through a higher lens, everyday conversations can feel shallow, even meaningless. Friends may not understand the pull toward meditation, energy work, or the hunger for spiritual growth, which can spark feelings of spiritual isolation. It's like tuning into a mystical radio station no one else seems to hear. The frequency of consciousness elevates, but the silence of companionship begins to weigh heavily. And yet that very solitude can also be a blessing in disguise. Moments of isolation often push individuals deeper into their true self, nurturing inner peace and self-knowledge in ways that constant social noise never could. Think of sages in hermitages, monks in mountains, or mystics who elevate their soul through simplicity. Their withdrawal wasn't rejection of the world, but an energetic realignment, a way to hear the voice of the higher self more clearly. For modern seekers, this could look like creating space for meditation instead of nightlife, or reading a spiritual text instead of scrolling endlessly through distractions. Still, isolation is not the final destination, it's a stage of transformation. The calling of spiritual awakening is not to cut ties with humanity, but to reconnect on a higher level, carrying healing energy into relationships, communities, and even global consciousness. The gift of energetic hypersensitivity is not meant to imprison the soul, but to train it in discernment, balance, and compassion. Yet before this reconnection can fully bloom, the seeker often experiences a powerful list of inner changes, the so-called 7 symptoms of awakening that announce a deeper transformation on the horizon. Topic 6. The 7 symptoms of awakening. The journey of spiritual awakening often announces itself through shifts that can confuse the mind, but illuminate the soul. Many describe it as a list of 7 symptoms that reveal a transformation underway. These signs show up in dreams, changes in energy, and a new sense of consciousness that seems impossible to ignore. They aren't punishments or illnesses, but rather messages from the universe, guiding personal development and helping to elevate the soul toward a higher self. One common symptom is heightened energetic hypersensitivity, the ability to just know when something's off. Another is an undeniable spiritual vision, the feeling that reality isn't limited to 3 dimensions, but is layered, alive, and constantly speaking. There might also be waves of unexplained emotions, the urge to meditate more frequently, or even the sensation that old desires and habits suddenly feel empty. Some feel drawn toward healing practices and energy work, as if their soul remembers an ancient calling. Each symptom acts as a portal, inviting seekers to embrace their true self. But here's the twist. These symptoms don't always feel like blessings. They can trigger confusion, spiritual isolation, and even doubt, as if consciousness is being stretched beyond its limits. Yet anyone navigating these changes is actually being reshaped into alignment with their spiritual development. Like a seed cracking open before sprouting, the discomfort itself is a sign of growth. Those 7 symptoms announce something greater, a doorway to transformation, and the realization that life isn't random, but a deliberate journey guided by the universe. And as one learns to trust this process, another stage comes forward, the undeniable calling toward service, purpose, and embodying enlightenment.
Topic 7. The calling toward purpose. As the symptoms of awakening deepen, the soul begins to hear what many describe as a calling.
It isn't always a loud voice, but a quiet tug, a sense that reality is pushing the seeker toward transformation and service. Some feel drawn to share mystical insights, others to healing, energy work, or guiding those still searching for inner peace. This calling marks a turning point. It's no longer just about personal growth, but about aligning with the universe to help elevate collective consciousness. Practical examples of this are everywhere. A person who once dreamed of wealth above all might suddenly feel compelled to teach meditation, channel energy for healing, or spread wisdom about spiritual development. It's as if the higher self takes charge, reminding them why they came here in the first place. Their spiritual vision grows sharper, and they realize their personal development was only the foundation for something bigger, igniting awakening in others. Even careers, friendships, or relationships start to reflect this new alignment, as if life rearranges to match the soul's true frequency in hertz. Still, this calling isn't free from challenges. Often the seeker must face doubts, fear of judgment, or even resistance from those who live in a different consciousness. That's why this step requires courage, to trust the voice of the soul above the noise of the world. Once embraced, however, the transformation becomes unstoppable, opening a spiritual portal within that not only strengthens the self, but radiates healing outward. And at that threshold, the seeker begins the ultimate integration, stepping into enlightenment, where spirituality becomes not just a path, but a lived reality every single day. Topic 8. Integration. Living in enlightenment. When the seeker embraces the calling, something extraordinary happens. Spirituality stops being a practice and becomes a way of living. Daily life itself transforms into meditation, every moment becoming an energetic exchange with the universe. Whether through silence, action, or simple presence, the awakened individual radiates healing energy naturally. They embody their higher self, moving through reality with inner peace, showing that true self-knowledge leads to personal and spiritual development that never really ends. It only expands. Integration is about merging the mystical with the ordinary. Washing dishes, walking the dog, or even handling challenges at work can become spiritual portals when done consciously. The enlightened soul sees every event as a message, every difficulty as transformation, and every joy as a reminder that they are interconnected with all of existence. No longer lost in spiritual isolation, they flow in alignment with universal consciousness, living proof that dreams and reality converge when one chooses awakening. Their life becomes an unshakable spiritual vision made visible. But enlightenment doesn't mean detachment from humanity, it means embodying humanity with depth and love. They carry the lessons of mysticism and energy work into the world, holding a frequency in hertz that uplifts everyone they meet. This presence alone invites others to elevate their soul and step into their own awakening. Yet even in this state, the seeker knows the journey is ongoing. Each day bringing new signs from the universe, new layers of consciousness, and new opportunities to embrace growth. Which leads to the reader's next step, taking these truths and daring to apply them in their own life. Now that you've uncovered this divine language, the real challenge begins. Will you just keep these truths as ideas, or will you live them? Every sign, every energetic shift, every dream is an invitation for transformation. What if your spiritual vision could guide not only your personal growth, but also ripple into the reality of everyone around you? And if the 7 symptoms you felt are not problems, but proof that your awakening has already started, what excuses are left to delay your calling? It's time to meditate, to open that spiritual portal within, and to elevate your soul by listening to the voice of your higher self. Ask yourself honestly, are you ready to stop surviving and start awakening to who you really are? If the universe has gone this far to get your attention, perhaps it's because your role in this great plan is more important than you think. So here's the invitation. Apply this knowledge today. Trust the energy speaking through your reality, and dare to step into the path of enlightenment. And if you feel this message resonated with your soul, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because this is just the beginning of your transformation, and there's so much more to uncover together.